Okay, my brothers and sisters, this is a pretty low rent video. Doesn't have my face on it. You may hear the shower come on or a dog whine, but it is what it is. I'm just sharing my experience. So many brothers and sisters have been awesome in encouragement and support and even contributing to my Give, Send, Go. ReAwaken America was something that started, I think, in 2021, and I followed it through the years, always wishing they would come near Louisiana. They never did. But then found out that my brother in Christ was coming from England and moving over here and would be at this event. And so and it was the last event. So it was just really, really awesome that I could get there. I could see him. I could go to this event, catch it before it was over. So anyway, it's October 17th. I get on my flight to go to Raleigh. Every little bump. It's been like 14 years since I've traveled anywhere really by myself. I've been married forever, and either I've had my husband or I've gone to a state where I have family to tote me around. So this was a journey that had me doing everything on my own. A lot of it I've never done before. So anyway, I'm on the flight. Every little bump in the air, because I'm not used to flying. I'm praying, peace be still in Jesus' name. I get there in one piece. It's evening and it's dark, and I've stopped. I'm over in Raleigh, and I go to pick up my car rental, and I thought I scored a really good deal. My husband had a few points, and we went through everything, what I was going to accept or decline. And they said, just, initial here. I do that. We go outside. It's dark. He just hands me the keys and he goes. So I'm trying to figure out where the trunk is. I finally get in the car. I'm situated. I didn't hook up my phone to the map. So I've got my pop socket and my phone in my hand for the next hour that I'm going to be driving. So I go to pull out, and immediately the guy tells me at the booth, your lights aren't on. I'm like, okay, put my lights on. I head out from the garage of, or the parking lot from Enterprise, and immediately get lost. I turn the corner. It's this dark, kind of bushy area, really odd place for an Enterprise. And I end up in this parking lot. They have all those little teeth things, if you roll over them, your tires will pop. And I'm in there, and there's a couple of unsavory characters hanging out, and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this parking lot. So I recalibrate my little map on my phone, and I get on the road. So I am merging from interstate to interstate to interstate for about an hour. I arrive at the hotel, and I just wanted to kiss the ground. So I get in the hotel. I go to check in, looking forward to going to bed, and my card is declined. I did not realize, and I didn't notice in the fine print, that I was going to be charged $400 for a deposit. Anytime I've driven a rental car, it's been because maybe a fender bender, it goes through our insurance. Very different. So, a little panic sets in. I call my husband. He's like, look, you're going to have to use this other card. So anyway, we get that done. I go upstairs. I have a little prayer time, and I go to bed. I don't sleep well because it takes about 3 or 4 nights in hotel beds for them to feel comfortable. But I get up the next day, and it's beautiful outside. And according to my map app on my phone, it's very straightforward how to get to the event. And I'm all excited. I'm going to meet my friend, and I'm going to go to the event. So I get in the car. I'm driving very, very carefully because I declined. It gets very expensive, and I just had roadside assistance. So kind of driving like a 90-year-old just to not have anything happen to it. So I go about a block, and then all of a sudden I notice on the dash that my hood is red. Okay, there's an issue with the car. Again, my stomach goes up in my throat, and I pull over, and it's that panic feeling of I'm alone in this state. I may have an issue with the car. I've got to get to the event. Anyway, it was a thing. So I get out and I'm like, I didn't even ask how to call roadside assistant. Like I didn't ask a lot of questions that perhaps some of you that are more seasoned with traveling would have. So I get out and I'm feeling around the hood and I realize it's loose. So I push it down real hard and realize that the night before, when he tossed the keys at me and I'm figuring out where the trunk is, I had popped the hood. So relief floods my body. I get back in the car and I get to the event center and I meet my brother in Christ. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. And I meet the group that he's with, these awesome prayer warriors, and I'm off to the races. It's a gorgeous day, not a cloud in the sky. The flag is up. It's beautiful, and all these people I've been listening and following to for so many years. I'm meeting them. I met David and Stacy Whited with Flyover Conservatives, and they graciously took pictures with me. They gave me a T-shirt for my cause, and just had a great day. And that evening, we went out to dinner, and the people I was with were so gracious, and they picked up the tab, so that was nice. Went back to the hotel. Was doing great. Went to bed. Day 3, I head to the event. It was just beautiful. It was fun to see all these people. And midday, we end up going to the Hinnant, I think it was, vineyard, where we got a little bit of lunch, and then we headed back to the event. That evening, we ended up going out to dinner, and after dinner, of course, my brother turns to me later as we're in the car, and he's like, you know who was sitting behind you at dinner? I said, no. He said, Roger Stone. I'm like, you didn't tell me. Anyway, so that evening, that's the day 2 of the event. I'm supposed to go home the next day. That evening, we go and meet some friends of theirs. And probably around 10 o'clock at night, they had been discussing the 11th hour, which would have President Trump would be there, Ben Carson, a whole lot of prophetic people. And it was an event for about 300 people. They were personally invited, vetted. It was going to be a gala with dinner. And the people I was with proposed that I stay longer, that I could go to the event with them, and that I would never regret it. And it was exciting, but of course I immediately start feeling this fear and this anxiety, because now at the very last second, I've got to change my ticket, my car, where I'm going to stay. And they said, well, you can stay, we have some friends we're going to stay with, because that's in Charlotte. So we'll have to drive to Charlotte. And, I bring up, I'm not really excited about worrying about what the money's going to be like with this rental, because already we were hit, and it really didn't want to add 2 more days to that. But one of them graciously offered to pay for 2 days of the rental. So she said, let's just, let's figure it out. So I go back to the room. I'm almost hoping my points won't transfer. Something will happen that I can't do it, because even though I want to do it, I'm terrified. I'm a person who likes to plan things out way ahead in advance and know what exactly I'm looking at, make my list, go in order. That's just me. So to do this at the last second really was putting me in fear. And I get to the room and I call my husband and I'm like, can you help me with this? So he says, yeah, let's do 3-party. Let's get on the phone with Enterprise. So we do that, and it's some guy from another country. We can hardly understand him. And he keeps wanting to change the reservation. My husband's like, no, we need to know what it would cost. And finally, he's like, we have to get off the phone because he's going to mess this up. So we got off the phone. He said, let's call the airlines. So we get a ticket. It's only $17 to change it for 2 days later. Then there was a miscommunication, and I was overtired. I was very anxious and worried. And then he started yelling at me. And then when he hung up, I had a panic attack. I started crying and crying. And then I was having trouble breathing, and I had to loosen my clothes, and I was just, I was praying to God, and I was just in so much fear. I know the devil was trying to get me to not do this, um, because I was hoping for a way out. But I remembered, I've said to God many times, you open doors. No matter what, I will go through them, because if I don't go through them, you'll send somebody else to go through them. So I decided to take a hot shower, and I was just praying in the spirit in the shower. And I went to bed and I tried to sleep. The next morning I woke up. I looked like I lost about 4 rounds in a prize fight. My eyes were half swollen shut. And I was so emotional. And then like my makeup dropped and broke, and I have to get an outfit for this thing. And I'm calling Enterprise. I called them 3 times and got 3 different stories. And I'm like, okay, I have to go find a dress. And everybody else was going to go back to the vineyard and go on a tour. And there was a little mall outlet very close to the hotel. So I had a little bit of money left. Thank goodness I'd brought my kind of sensible but black sandal shoes, so it would work with the dress. So I get in the car. It's beautiful out. I'm praising God. I'm still here. We'll figure it out. I find a dress that will work, and then they tell me that they're not going to do the tour, that there's some live music. Why don't you come out and join us? So I'm like, great. It's beautiful out. I get to the vineyard easily, and I notice that they're between an Airstream and an RV, which they had. I guess they knew the people at this vineyard, but it was off in a field to the right. And they were both parked there, but they were in a circle in the middle. And it's gorgeous outside. And I just kind of drive over the grass. I park quietly. I join the circle. And there was somebody in that group that prophesied over the whole group, and then prophesied over each of us individually. And I was so emotional. And I was just, but it was incredible. It was incredible what was spoken over us. It was incredible how it felt out there. And what was spoken over me is something I'll never forget. And probably one of the bigger highlights of my journey. So as we're going to the restaurant at the vineyard to go get some lunch, we look up, and there's this incredible angel cloud that is hanging over us. It was windy out. It never budged. It didn't break down. It just stayed there floating over us. So after we're marveling at this, taking pictures, we go in and have lunch, and then we're going to have to get in our cars and drive to Charlotte for this event and stay at a friend's house. So when we come out to eat, it's been well over an hour, and this angel is still hanging right where we left it. So that was really incredible. So we get in our cars and we drive about 3.5 hours, and it's a beautiful ride. It's a beautiful state, and the weather was awesome. There was a prayer call during the drive, which was really awesome. I actually have a word to give to my mother that I received from somebody. So I'm going to do that. So we get there and we get to one of their friends' homes. And I'm kind of leaving names out because I haven't asked to mention them, except Ash. Everybody knows I was there with him. So we come to her home, and she's just a beautiful lady, so gracious. And we have some pizza, and we hang out, and we enjoy the evening. I had a room to sleep in and slept actually one of my better nights. In the morning, we got up and, I left this out. As we're leaving the circle in the vineyard, the person who offered to pay for my rental gave me a check, and I thanked her. and she had told me earlier that the Lord said she was going to do something for me. So I opened the check, and it was well above what I needed. And I went to stop her, and she's like, "No, I'm being obedient." So God put people in my way, and He provided. He more than provided, and He had told me in a word before I even left to not worry about that, and that He would provide sevenfold. So that was just really incredible, because she hardly knows me, and she did this out of obedience. And it really changed the countenance of my husband as well when he heard this. So anyway, we get there. We're staying in Charlotte. We get up the next morning. We're all getting dressed up. We had found out a little earlier that the event had been changed and that anybody who wanted to go. So we're kind of debating, do we still go? And we thought, yeah, you pray against things going on, and who knows, if this was just to create chaos or confusion, or maybe it was being coordinated, because it was supposed to be a worship, praise, prayer, intercession over Trump. So we get there to the venue, and it is an all-out Trump rally. There's a huge field that we have to go park in. Everybody's in shorts. I was lucky because my luggage was in the car, so I was able to lay low in the car and kind of change clothes. And we meet up with a few people, and we wait in line for a few hours. One half of us made it in, the other half of us did not. So we decided, since we got pushed back and then we're told, look, you're probably not getting in. So we ended up going to dinner and having a nice dinner together. So then we say our goodbyes, and I'm going to be staying with one of the ladies in the group. She had a hotel room about an hour away with an extra bed, and then I would only be 1 hour away from the Charlotte airport. So I get in my car and I head out, and God really has His hand on me. I had a lot of people praying for me, and at church as well, because shortly before I arrived at this part of the interstate, there was a horrible accident. This car was crushed and upside down, and God has hand on me that I wasn't around there just a little bit sooner than that. So I prayed for them all the way to the hotel. I get to the hotel, and the person I'm staying with, we end up having a really good conversation, things going on in my life that was going on with someone in her life. And we just had a really good sister talk. And, I realized that, though I was disappointed I didn't get to go to that function that I stayed later for, but I realized I was around the people I was supposed to be with, and I was where I was supposed to be. So there was nothing lost. And I know there'll be other opportunities. So we had a good night. I got up really early because I am going to be going to Charlotte Airport, which is about an hour away from where I was. And I knew it was going to be rush hour for work, and I had no idea what their rush hour looked like. Turns out it's a parking lot. So it's fine. I've got time. I've got my, I've since figured out how to get my map on the screen in the car. And I'm just being so careful. They were so impatient and aggressive. So I was just staying in lanes away from people. So I'm getting closer to the airport. I see the airport. I'm celebrating in my car, like, yeah, I got plenty of time. Just get Enterprise. They told me they could take the extra money out of the deposit. At first they told me the person would have to be with me. Then they told me, no, they can take it out of the deposit. So I'm like, great. So I get to the airport, and I see some sign off to my side about rental return. But I'm looking for Enterprise because I don't know. And I pass that up and I realize I don't see Enterprise anywhere, and my maps isn't picking up any kind of Enterprise store. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm going through pickup and all that, and I start going back onto the interstate, and the panic set in again. Like, I don't have time to get stuck on an interstate. So where the interstate veered off, I pulled in the middle, which I know is stupid and dangerous. And one guy almost rear-ended me thinking I was in a lane. But I had to recalibrate my map, and there was nowhere to pull over. So I did that. I get back into the airport, and I'm following the rental return sign, and I get up, and I'm in the garage. I'm like, what's going on? I'm just, my breathing's getting tight again, and I'm praying, and I'm just getting fearful again. But I see these other booths, people coming through for different other rental place. So I pull over, I'm walking through these cars to one of the booths, and I'm waiting for the lady. I couldn't believe how long it took to get each car through. And I'm like, I'm lost. I've got to get my car to Enterprise. She's like, oh, it's right down to the right. So, and I'm almost done. I probably lost some people. So I go down to my right, and it turns out it's just lanes in the parking garage. And the guys have their little handheld stuff to print out receipts. So anyway, relief floods me. I parked the car. I checked it beforehand. I asked them to check it. I didn't want any surprises. He prints out the receipt, and it's a bit more than they said. And no, they couldn't take it out of the deposit. So I'm like, I just kind of just don't care. I just want to get to my gate. So I get to my gate, and I tell my husband the deal, and he's like, no, you need to get on the phone with them because it doesn't look like they did this, this, and this. So I'm like, okay. So I get back on the phone. Turns out the extra 2 days, they said, well, now it's a weekly fee. Okay. And then on top of that, I didn't think that roadside and the gas, they would apply to those 2 days. So it kind of panned out. And, but I met a very nice lady from Araby in Louisiana. And so we had a nice chat. So I got on that flight. I had no fear on that flight. I was so tired. I think my head went back and I snorted once. But maybe that's the key to me flying. I just need to be absolutely exhausted. But I didn't fall asleep, and I decided to start writing. So I wrote the first 5 pages of all this. And then I got to, I forgot where the last one was. Anyway, I got to my second flight, and a little bit more nerves. Each time I'm on the plane, I just pipe in the worship and praise music. I have a whole playlist of Psalm 91s. And then this time around, I'd been given a cross from someone in the group, a little handheld cross from Israel that had been anointed and prayed over. So I did some more writing and some more, peace be still in Jesus' names as I'm going. But I don't know if anybody's flown Southwest, but they can be a bit funny. So as I close out here, okay, so these are some of the Southwest funnies I thought was funny. I recognize this guy. I truly believe I've flown with him. I flew with him probably 14 years prior, but I definitely recognized him, and I loved his humor. I told him as I left, I said, as a nervous flyer, I really appreciate your humor. So some of the one-liners we heard, first of all, they harassed everybody while they're trying to get seated, hurry up, hurry up. Some of the lines, one was like, if you don't like our service, we have 2 doors in the front and 2 doors in the back. Probably 2 of us chuckled. The other line was, as we're finally getting in and the seatbelt sign hasn't come off yet, you hear all the belts clicking. And he said, in my 31 years of flying, nobody has ever beat me to the front door, which also is something I'm going to remember next time I fly, that this guy's been doing it for 31 years, and I got to not be so nervous about it. Another one of his things was, in an hour and 10 minutes, enjoy your flight. We'll be landing in about an hour and 10 minutes in beautiful, New Orleans. So I thought that was funny. And then last but not least, he talked about if you got a connecting flight, make sure you check the board above. If you're flying with another airline, we don't care. So anyway, that speaks to me. That puts me at ease. I know I have blathered on quite a bit, but it was, there was so much joy, and there was so many awesome things. And I feel like it changed me in many ways. I feel like I went through a boot camp because I feel like, and I've been told that there'll be more of this in my future. And I'm not only was put through the ringer of everything that could go sideways, went sideways, and yet God put people in front of me. He put provision in front of me, and it taught me a lot about needing to deepen my faith even more and trusting in Him. It was very roller coastery, if that's a word. But it was an absolute blessing, and all those that cheered me on and helped me get there, I appreciate and love you all. And I will not soon forget this. I've learned a lot of lessons. If I rent a car, I know a lot of things about that. I know that changing an airline ticket isn't the big deal I thought it would be. And I've learned that I can drive somebody else's car all across a state and not get a ding in it. So that is my testimony. And you in the back, wake up. Anyway, God bless. Thank you for listening if you made it all the way here. And I'll see you later. I did write a song from this called Walk in Faith, and I have posted that on my channel as well, because that was my lesson. And, when I sat down with God after, He said, yeah, you did get in fear. You did get in anxiety. He said, but you didn't back out of it. You went through the door still. You still followed through. And so that was the lesson. All right. I love you all. Bye.